Mountain, and I hope you all are having a fantastic Saturday. I know I certainly am. Unfortunately, here, yes, again, ladies and gentlemen, I am all by myself, unfortunately. Tom right now is swimming across the Indian Ocean as we speak. Tyler, I believe, is somewhere in the Serengeti looking to find his spirit animal, and Jake, from what I understand, possibly broke his foot playing Aussie football. We're not really sure on everybody's accounts, of course, but we'll keep you guys updated as the time comes along. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, not all by myself here. Luckily, one of my very good friends, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anthony Gentili is here. He's a very long-time friend of mine, all back from my days in high school. So I want to make sure you give him a lot of credit. This is his first time ever producing, first time ever doing anything like this, being on the board. So make sure to go easy on him and give him a lot of love and give him a lot of props. So thank you, Anthony, for being here, man. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready for this one because we've got a lot to talk about here. Obviously, we had a lot more planned, but due to some short timing and unfortunately some other incidences that kind of took place here, we're going to kind of skip through some things. So I hope you all are ready for some fun stuff because we're about to get it started, kicking it off here with college football. Now, usually when I do this, of course, I have my guy, Tom McKinney, sitting here by my side as he kind of rattles off the bowl game predictions, and we go through the top 25 changes. You know, it's kind of become a new custom for us here at the X-Bomb Sports live show, right? And luckily, though, even though he's not here, I thought we'd still talk about college football because obviously there were some good moments. But this doesn't really pertain to college football. This kind of pertains to something outside of it. Tim Tebow, who is a legendary name in the game of college quarterbacks, right? In the name of college football. One of the most prolific names really in the game of football, we can say. Huge. He had some words to say about what is a new act that is out there. This is the Fair Pay for Play Act that is being talked about throughout the states here in America. And if you don't know what it is, the Fair Pay for Play Act is an act that basically allows college athletes to take their image, their rights to the image, that they used to sign away forever to the college, to the college world. They basically said you have the right to profit off of them. And that's what this act is. And California I believe they just passed the bill on this or so for the Fair Play for Pay Act. Tim Tebow's not a fan, though, right? Tim Tebow's not a fan at all. He had a lot of words. He had a lot of choice words. He said a lot of things. He went on different shows and kind of talked about it. A little quick quote from him. It says, if I could support my team, support my college, support my university, that's what it's all about. But now we're changing it from being an alumni where I care, which makes college sports special, to then, okay, it's not about us, it's all about we. It's just about me. He also added, it changes what's special about college football. We turn it into the NFL, where who has the most money, that's where you go. This was during ESPN's First Take with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith. I would, in the past, have said I agree with Tim Tebow, which wasn't too long ago. Because for those of you that don't know, when I first started doing this show, I was very adamant about I think college athletes are already being paid for a free scholarship, right? Me as the average student, no longer playing any kind of sport, I was always under the belief that, you know what, I get a free education or I get some sort of money for education, therefore I'm okay. I will be all right. But my vision kind of skewed off over the time now, and I've kind of realized, you know what, pay these kids. Because they're busting their butt. They're busting their you-know-whats for this. I respect a guy like Tim Tebow, right? I mean, he is the wholesome All-American, right? He is the goody good guy. He is everything that everybody could ever want in a person, okay? That's Tim Tebow. He's a man's man. He is America's man. And there were some people who are like, hey, if you need a replacement for Captain America, Tim Tebow should be it. He looks the part. He plays the part. Everything about him says as wholesome as apple pie. Legendary in the game, national championships, Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he's got, and not only that, he's a winning record in the NFL as a quarterback. Obviously not wanted, but now he's got also a baseball career that has seen some minor success. But here's my problem with Tim Tebow. What he's saying is that the athletes shouldn't be paid because it changes college football. But college football's changed over the years. Even the guy who invented this whole system of making college athletes considered as amateurs, at some point before he passed away, in the 70s, I believe it was, or the 60s, had said he denounced the idea that athletes should be paid. Should not be paid, I should say. And he said they should be paid. They should be compensated. It's only right. To say that this bill, this is good. This is great for college athletes because you got to remember, there's some of these guys, they're never going to touch the NFL, right? And Tim Tebow is one of those guys who, his voice does not carry enough weight. I'm sorry. Tim Tebow comes from a really nice home. He comes from a nice home. He's got parents that love him. He's got a family that loves him. Parents do really well. They've got some pretty good money. They're not wealthy per se, but they do well enough, right? And here's a guy who went to Florida, was a legend there, and Heisman Trophy and national championships and all that stuff, and went to the NFL, success and brands and all this stuff, right? I mean, that's Tim Tebow. And then he gets this SEC gig, and after his football career doesn't pan out, he's like, I want to try baseball. And the Mets are like, oh, we'll give you a shot. What? That doesn't happen for everybody. So for him, his voice doesn't really carry that heavy of an opinion for me, honestly. And I'm sure it doesn't do it for a lot of guys. The other thing is, he's working for the enemy. Yeah. He works for the SEC network. You know, one of the biggest conferences in college football. Do you really think he's going to go on there and say, yeah, I support the players getting paid? I'm sure the SEC would allow that to be said by some people. But I'm sure they would put a counterbalance on the other side of things and have more individuals on the other side that are like, oh, well, you can't pay the players. Why? Tim Tebow, I like the guy. I think he's great. If I were a parent, I would sure want my daughter to bring him home. But I would not. I am not with him on this. His voice does not carry enough muster at this point to be able to validate that as something that should be deemed as credible. He says and he said something too in that little interview. It wasn't mentioned, but he said, we live in a very me, my, and I culture, right? We live in a very selfish culture now. We do. We live in a very selfish culture. A lot of people out there are very selfish. I'm selfish. A lot of people are. It's okay. To some degree, at least. Right? I mean, you do have to look out for yourself, but you do have to also care about others. You do, in football, it is a team sport. Right? Basketball is a little bit different. Basketball, there's not a lot of guys on the roster. It's a little bit more individualistic. But baseball, hockey, football, you got to have a team, man. So I understand what he's trying to say. You don't want to lose the team. You don't want to lose the self of being together. But that's easy for him to say because he also played quarterback. Like, he gets a lot of exposure. Quarterbacks get more media exposure. I believe with the stat I saw, it was like 26% more media coverage goes to the quarterback than almost any other position. Running back oftentimes comes up next, followed by defensive lineman, and then comes wide receiver. But quarterback's always at the top of the list. Everybody wants to talk to the quarterback. Everybody wants to talk to Tim Tebow. I understand that, and I'm not trying to make fun of his image, and I'm not trying to make fun of who he is, right? He's a very good guy. I'm sure he's a very good guy. But in his body, I full-heartedly believe, because he says, at one point I saw my jersey was in the top 5 of the NFL, right? It's in the top 5, or not the NFL, excuse me. It was in the top 5 all selling when he was at Florida. And he said, but I didn't care about that kind of stuff. Really? I find that very hard to believe. You cared enough to look. And I don't believe for one second in your mind you never thought, where's that money going? Why am I not getting that money? I'm Tim Tebow. I'm Florida's quarterback. I'm national championship winning Tim Tebow with a Heisman Trophy. Where's the money going with my jersey number? I don't believe him for a second on this whole thing that he was not selfish. I know that's not what he was saying, but he's making it seem like I've never been selfish. Baloney. You have been selfish. We've all been selfish at some point in our lives. You just seem to hide it a little better because you have this wholesome personality that we are all addicted to. And it's like, oh, but Tim, he can do no wrong. He's like Roger Staubach. Even Roger Staubach had his moments. He didn't get in trouble off the field. He didn't have any skeletons in the closet. Granted on that. He lived a pretty well life. But he was not perfect. He was not perfect by any means. The Fair Pay for Play Act is a good thing for college athletes. Allow them to make money off of their images, get endorsements, let them be able to put money in their pockets. I understand where he's coming from. I get it. I understand what he's saying. And not to get all, but let's be realistic about this. There's more and more alternatives now to the college levels. And for football, I understand that college is one of the best exposure points, but let's be realistic. Pretty soon there's going to be other alternatives. If the AAF would have opened it up to high school seniors and said, we will draft you right after you graduate high school. You don't got to wait. We'll draft you right out of high school. You can come play for us right out of high school. You think Trevor Lawrence would have went to Clemson? Maybe. Or maybe he would have taken the money that the AAF was giving him. If the XFL is smart, they'll do that. And that opens up a new territory now for high school kids. Maybe not every top recruit will flock to the XFL then, or whatever football league gets started next, but you've got to be realistic now in how you think about this, right? Because now colleges have to compete with a professional, semi-professional football league to try and get top players. Oof. How are you going to do that? Offering an education now means nothing to a high school kid if an option is out there. Right? Like, look at what happened with those guys for basketball, right? Hampton, LaMelo Ball. Where are they at right now? They're playing overseas in Australia. Why? Because they'd rather go play professional ball in Europe or anywhere else. In Australia, in this case, they'd rather go play professional ball elsewhere, wait a year, and not waste a year in college where they have to keep themselves academic and all that stuff. Do they lose a little bit of the national exposure? Yes. That is a crutch. But I'll tell you what, if more guys follow in their footsteps and go to Australia, the NBL is going to blow up. The camera crews will flock there
to put more exposure on them. Because if the best talent is going to those countries, guess what? People will find a way to put them on TV and get them that national exposure. Now you're losing eyes for the college game. I mean, people still watch it. But this is the good thing, Tim, Tebow, my man. You watching us? You listening? Listen, man. It is okay for college athletes to use their rights and likeness to make some money. It should be okay. Not everybody came from the kind of lifestyle you did. Not everybody's going to have the career that you did. Some of these guys will graduate and they will go on and live normal lives. Some of them will end up somehow trying to go to the NFL. A lot of them will. But a majority of them will not. A small percentage will try. Only a few will actually succeed. And maybe a handful will actually pan out. And you didn't. You kind of just looked into the baseball thing, to be honest. Not to give you any credit, but I'm just saying. You got lucky somebody was willing to give you a chance. Not too many people have that opportunity. That's all I'm saying, Tim. Consider the other possibilities for those out there. There's a lot of college athletes out there that deserve a lot more. Tim, I love you. I think you've got some good opinions every now and then for college football. You understand the game. But your voice in this matter carries very little because of how you grew up, how you were able to be successful, how you were able to get to the NFL, and now you have a run in baseball while working for one of the most powerful conferences in the league that you helped set up, by the way. Got to give you credit there. But it's in the system that is set up right now to make sure that these guys do not get paid. Tim, all I'm saying is really think about this from the player's standpoint and stop thinking about this from the standpoint of where you're at as an SEC network employee and a guy who now plays baseball who's not really doing too well in the minors. You've had a little bit of a good moment here and there, but let's be realistic. You're just trying to keep up on the paychecks. And I get it. But come on, Tim. These guys are following in your footsteps. They want to do what you've done. Win a national championship, win a Heisman Trophy, and you say this kind of stuff? Don't be surprised if you lose a lot of friends, man. Do not be surprised by that. All right. Moving on from there, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into something a little bit more because obviously NFL is coming up here again, right? We got week 2 here. And lucky for us, week 1 for us here in Chicago did not go as planned. And I should know, and so does Anthony, because we were at his home watching the game when it happened. And I think we can both say the same thing. That game was a big load of baloney. It was bad on both ends, right? Green Bay, Chicago, they both look bad. But when it comes down to it, of course, Chicago did not look good at all. Offensively, they made a lot of mistakes. I've already said my piece on that stuff. I don't know what else I can possibly say for that. But let's look into this. Let's look into this week's game, right? We've got Chicago versus Denver. I mean, week 2, it's already probably the biggest matchup they will have. One of the biggest matchups they'll have of the year. It's basically their counterpartner, if you really think about it, right? I mean, Denver and Chicago, they're not too far off from each other in terms of their abilities, right? I mean, Joe Flacco's got a stronger arm than Trubisky, I got to say that. But they're both decent quarterbacks, I would have to say. Running game-wise, I mean, Broncos had a little bit of a stronger run game, right? Royce Freeman had 56 yards. We only had 19 yards come from Mike Davis in terms of our top carrier. Receiver-wise, I mean, our top guy, Allen Robinson, performed, right? 102 yards. Looked like a number 1 wide receiver. Looks like the ACL injury hasn't even affected him. For the Broncos, Cortland Sutton really stepped up with 7 catches for 120 yards himself. And he's like the number 2 wide receiver, where Emmanuel Sanders is kind of considered the number 1 guy, even though he plays a lot in the slot. But this matchup really, I mean, it's a dogfight. That's what this is. This is going to be a very tough matchup, okay? It is going to be a dogfight. Chicago, like I said, this last game against the Packers, defense really popped off. Top 5 defense in the NFL. Oh, absolutely. Stuffed the run, got pressure on Aaron Rodgers, sacked him, 5 times, I believe it was, 5 or 6 times. Leonard Floyd had 2 sacks. A lot of it was courtesy of Khalil Mack getting some pressure on Aaron Rodgers and disrupting the offensive line. But I don't want to give him all the credit because overall, the Bears did a really good job defensively all the way around. They had some moments, right? But they did a really good job, and the offense just didn't perform. Denver is kind of in the same fashion, right? But Denver kind of had, their defense kind of gave up some pretty dumb plays. Like, I feel like they could have definitely done some more damage against Josh Jacobs. But Josh Jacobs is also looking like he's going to be a really good running back for the NFL. He feels like he's got a very balanced attack to his kind of way. Catches the ball really well, runs the ball really well, right? So Denver, it's a little bit hard to say, but for what they have on defense, I felt like you should have been able to shut him down sooner. I'm just saying. But for both these teams, I mean, look, offensively, this is just tough because Denver at least was able to get themselves a touchdown, right? They were at least able to get themselves in the end zone with Joe Flacco. The Bears were only able to get a field goal out of Eddie Pinheiro. So it's tough. I don't know. It is tough to say. I want to believe that Trubisky can get the job done, but we said this the last couple of shows, right? Nagy's got to simplify the playbook. Stop running trick plays. Start running some slants, some crossing routes, right? Get a few posts in there here and there, right? Make the game easier for Trubisky. Don't make it so difficult. Keep it simple. Smarty. All right? Keep it simple. And Trubisky, man, stop trying to do so much. You know, the guy runs around a lot. I look at him and I really think he's trying to be a lot like Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers will scramble outside the pocket when things don't look good for him. Right? He does it so many times, and then he tries to fling the ball down the field. And he's got the arm to do it, don't get me wrong. But he's also got the weapons around him to help him out. And while I think that Trubisky does have some decent weapons, he doesn't have anything near the level of what Green Bay has. And you also have to remember too, this is Vic Fangio. He knows this offense. He played against it enough last year to know the ins and outs and tendencies of the quarterback, the running back, the offensive line, and the wide receivers. He knows that offense very well. He understands how Nagy works. But here's the other flip side to this too, though. Remember this. Nagy also knows how Fangio works. And while all due respect to Von Miller, he's a great pass rusher and probably the best pass rushing linebacker in the game. Him or Khalil Mack, I probably have to go with Khalil Mack because he's stronger. Von Miller's faster. I will say that. Von Miller is faster. He's quicker, which counts for a lot. But I think because Khalil Mack is not as fast as him, but he's a little bit stronger, that helps to make the difference. Not only that, but Khalil Mack has also been very accustomed to kind of just pass rushing a lot. Von Miller has to drop into coverage quite a bit. I mean, his main objective is to really go get the quarterback, but he also has to know how to drop into coverage, play zone, stuff like that. Mack's main goal, go get that QB. Go get us the ball. It's an advantage, in my estimation, in my opinion, at least. Do I think Chicago can win this game? Yeah, I think they can win this game. I think they win this game primarily on the ground because that's where Oakland won the game. Josh Jacobs had 2 rushing touchdowns, ran for 85 yards, I believe it was, against Denver. You've got Mike Davis, who showed promise running the football strong, and David Montgomery, who I think is a workhorse, where if you give him enough carries, he gets better as he goes on throughout the game. But you have to give him the 20, 25 touches. If you're gonna split it up, I would say Montgomery and Cohen should get 20 touches apiece and give the last 10, 15 touches on the ball to Mike Davis. Everything else, allow Trubisky to be able to throw the ball 25, 30, 35 times in a game. You don't have to throw it 45 times. 25 to 35 times in a game can suffice. But you have to be able to get the ground game going a little bit, especially when you can see what Montgomery and Cohen can bring out of the backfield, right? Montgomery's not fast. He's not blazing speed, but he's quick and he's powerful. Like a couple of other running backs that have been through Chicago before. You probably know who they are. It's a tough thing to match up to them, but the skill sets are there to kind of lay the groundwork for what could be those kind of careers potentially. Cohen's a speedster. Having speed in the backfield, you lined him up as a wide receiver so much. He caught 8 passes for 49 yards. He didn't touch the ball once rushing. That can work, but let's be honest. Don't you want to get him out there in the backfield? Throw a screen out of the backfield. Hand it off to him on a toss. Or, get him on a toss sweep. Something. Have that speed in the backfield more. And use Mike Davis as your goal line guy, your third down guy. Convert on the third downs. 3rd and inches, 3rd and 1. Mike Davis is in. Pushes the pile. Let's go. And he's also a decent receiver, so you know you have that option there too with him. The Bears could be really good. But I'm not the offensive coordinator. I'm not the offensive guru head coach that's supposed to be able to change this team completely. Matt Nagy just has to stop trying to be Sean McVay and just has to be Matt Nagy. Simplify the playbook a little bit and things could be a lot better. I truly believe that. Curls, slants, crossing routes, posts, inside, outside, work it all. Simple stuff. Trickle the ball down the field. Little by little. 5 yards here, 5 yards there, 5 yards here, 5 yards there. Run, 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 run. Touchdown. And look at that. Now we've got a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. It's very simple and it's very easy. We should have been able to win that game against the Packers. I know my friend Anthony back there was hoping for some different numbers, certainly. He was hoping that as long as it ended on 9, that's all he wanted, man. That's all he wanted. But they could have easily won that game then, 19-9. They could have easily done it. But the offense has got to come. They've got to perform. You got to get the offense moving. You got to get Trubisky. Stop throwing off the back foot. Look off the safeties. Read the linebackers. See the shifts. Stop throwing it like a Hail Mary. Step into your throws. Step into the pocket. Stop running out of the damn thing. It's there for you. And I know it wasn't all his fault because the offensive line. Cody Whitehair, you just got paid. And you're whiffing on blocks? Bobby Massey can't set the edge against Zadarius Smith? Really? Now, we got a problem here then, ladies and gentlemen. They can win this game in Denver. But I'll tell you right now, they don't win this game and they struggle in the next 3 games. I don't know if Chicago wins the division. Again, I know it was only 1 game, but it's 1 game where there are some concerns that need to be addressed because of how ugly it was. I know it was Thursday. I know it was the first game of the season, but gosh darn. They have got to be better than this. My overall prediction on this game, I'm viewing a Bears victory, but I'm keeping it very close. I'm keeping it to like a 23-19. I think they can pull it off. I think Trubisky will be able to get in the end zone, but I think he will also make some mistakes along the way. I'm talking an interception, maybe even 2, with maybe even a fumble. Because Von Miller is not going to come easy. He's going to be out there with the fury. Fangio is not going to call the dogs off. He is going to attack at all costs. Chicago, be ready, be prepared. I'm rooting for you. I really am. But you're not making it easy on them. But we'll see what happens come Sunday. All right. So moving into the last point of this show here. Obviously, week 1, we did the preview. Oh, excuse me. Thought I was going to sneeze there. We did the preview, and then we did the review, and we had them all lined up to kind of show through you guys, obviously, in the last time. But unfortunately, this time, for whatever reason, we couldn't seem to get them all lined up. But we do still have the preview for this week's game. They just won't show up there on the show. So, apologies again on that. They won't be down here, down below. But we will go through these anyways, all right? So, real quick review on this. Obviously, if you didn't watch the Thursday night game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers. And Carolina dropping another one, 0-2 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 20-14. I mean, I thought last week's game, 49ers and Tampa, was a bad game. This was worse. This game... This was rough. I don't know how anybody could stand to watch it. I mean, I'll give it to Jameis Winston. He played a little bit better. 16 for 25, 208 yards, and threw a touchdown. Didn't have 3 interceptions. Okay. And he also got lucky that Godwin kind of caught fire. 121 yards and a touchdown, and a really nice 24-yarder of a catch. I mean, he played well, and Mike Evans also played well, 61 yards. Had a nice long ball for 41 yards, too. And he's also lucky, too, that Barber, the running back, Pierre Barber, really stepped up. But this still was an ugly game. I mean, I don't know what else you can say to protect Cam Newton. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Oh, sure, he threw for 300 yards, but he couldn't get in the end zone. He couldn't run the ball. They stuffed McCaffrey. He didn't stand a chance. Greg Olsen still looking good, 110 yards on 6 catches, but none of them were in the end zone. He's one of the best red zone tight ends over the last 5-6 years. You can't find a way to get him open? I find that hard to believe. Ugly game. Congratulations to Tampa on being able to pull out the victory. Hats off to you guys. I mean, I still don't think that this is going to go pretty, though. I really don't. Although I will say this. I think what Tom said last week, that Cam Newton might need a change of scenery, might ring true. There's a lot of teams that might be looking for a quarterback very soon. Not everybody sold on their quarterback, and he could be one of the biggest available players maybe after this season if Carolina's looking to move away and move on and get somebody else. So, first game up we've got San Francisco, Cincinnati. I will say I like Cincinnati. Cincinnati right now is favored by a point. I think Cincinnati can definitely pull off the victory in this. I know San Francisco was able to get the win, but Jimmy Garoppolo did not play very well. He didn't even get over 200 yards. He threw a pick 6 to Vernon Hargreaves. Granted, the defense of the 49ers held them together. Richard Sherman actually came up with a big play of a pick 6 to return, for a nice touchdown. And, overall, I mean, the defense as a whole for the 49ers really kept them in this game. But honestly, I just look at it and I just say, you know what? Cincinnati, I trust in a guy like I trust in Andy Dalton in some way, shape, or form. He gets a lot of bad reps, but he played well in that first game. He played well in that first game, and he usually looks pretty decent in the first 4 weeks. First 3 or 4 weeks, he's pretty decent. The rest of the way is usually where he's really struggling. But I would say I think the Bengals are able to pull this one off by possibly a touchdown, maybe even 10 points or more. So the next matchup you got the Los Angeles Chargers against the Detroit Lions. Lions came up with a tie against the Cardinals for the third time in NFL history. For third straight time in NFL history, we've had a tie in Week 1 in the more modern day era of the NFL. I mean, it's shocking, really, that we've even had that. Cardinals played very well in the back half of the game there. Stafford looked really great. Defense needs to really make some vast improvements. I don't know what Matt Patricia's doing, but there was a lot of times where guys should have been well covered and they were just playing too far off. And you're talking about the Chargers, where right now they're firing on all cylinders, right? Phillip Rivers is not looking like he's slowing down at all. He's still slinging the ball, and he's slinging it pretty beautifully. Chargers right now are favored by 2 points. I would actually say I think, you know what, Chargers, honestly, I have to say I think Chargers can win this one by a good 2-3 touchdowns. That's what I think. Because also, too, the Chargers defense, even though Derwin James isn't there, which is unfortunate, he is their best defensive athlete. He's not a safety. He's like a linebacker that plays safety. He's all over that field. But even without him, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram still do a decent job. Minnesota versus Green Bay. Both of them have victories. Green Bay is favored by 2.5. I think that Green Bay can take the victory because I think Kirk Cousins is just not that good of a quarterback. He only threw 10 passes last week. I don't know what's going on with the passing game. Obviously, they favored Dalvin Cook over the situation that there was with Kirk Cousins. Maybe they just didn't feel comfortable with him throwing it. He might be hurt. He might not be feeling well. Who knows? But after what I saw with Minnesota, I mean, yeah, Dalvin Cook did fine, but I still think that Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay have the better roster, right? They, like he said, we have a defense. They do have a defense. I got to give it to them. That defense, while the Bears' offense did not look good, they got pressure on the quarterback against an offensive line that's not the best, but pretty good. And Green Bay's offensive line, one of the best in the NFL in Bakhtiari, one of the other best in the NFL in Balaga, longtime veterans on both ends. I think Green Bay pulls this one out, and I think it's like a good – I think they can win this by maybe a touchdown. I think the Vikings will be there competitively. But Anthony's saying 2 touchdowns, if I'm correct. He says 2 touchdowns. It could very well be 2 touchdowns. I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here. And Kirk Cousins with this first start did not look good. And if it could be a sign of things to come, or he's just rusty. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see on that, of course. But I got Green Bay, I think, winning it by at least a touchdown. Anthony's saying too. Next, we've got the Indianapolis Colts against the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to say it. Tennessee looked really good. I mean, that Cleveland team was supposed to be fantastic, but clearly Cleveland had a lot of issues, and Tennessee took advantage of them greatly. I think Derrick Henry is going to really electrify the NFL this year. I think he already has, but I think he's really going to put his foot down and stamp his mark on the NFL this year and really prove himself. I was very cautious with him because I just thought a running back his size, it's Eddie Lacy, he's going to blow up. But he takes very good care of his body. I did not realize. So props to him, and I think he's going to be very successful. That being said, they're favored by 3.5 points. I think Jacoby Brissett still played very well. I get, 190 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Marlon Mack had like 174 yards and a touchdown. So Indianapolis's offense is still there. They're going to play very well. This is going to be a fight. I think Tennessee can win this, but I think it's going to be a tight game. I would say 6 points is where it's going to be at. It's going to be a 6-point difference. Tennessee wins it, and it's going to be off of field goals. So, or like a last-second touchdown type of thing from Mariota. But it seems like Mariota's got his weapons, and in Brissett, Indy trusts. All right, next. New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. I mean, do we even have to talk about this? Do we even have to discuss this? Baltimore put up 59 points against them. That's like Baltimore put up I think the last time Lamar Jackson put up 59 points on a team and threw for 5 touchdowns, it was probably back in Louisville, okay? When he was playing in college. He looked great. And that was just Lamar Jackson. You know, the running back, not bad for a running back. Kid can throw. You're talking about Tom Brady going to Miami. You're talking about the best coach, the best quarterback in the NFL right now, with a really good defense and an offense that looks like it was unstoppable against a Pittsburgh defense that we all thought was probably going to be tough. If New England doesn't win this one by like 50, I call it dissatisfying. I do. They should be able to hang 70 on Miami, you would think. They played Pittsburgh. Brady threw 3 touchdowns. What do you think he's going to do against Miami? Which, by the way, Minkah Fitzpatrick, their first-round pick, he wants out. I know he's going to be traded by the game. But what happens when they meet? Because they have to meet again. They're in the conference with division with each other. He's your best DB. Patriots don't win this by 50. Disappointing. Tom, you're on my fantasy team. Brady, you know what to do. Fry up some mahi-mahi. I think that's a Hawaiian word for the dolphin dish. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But yeah, it should be by 50. All right. Buffalo against the New York Giants is that next big matchup. I don't know how big this is really going to be. I don't think this is going to be. I think this is going to be another kind of a dud game. I will say Eli Manning performed pretty well in the game against the Cowboys. I know they didn't win. They got blown out. But he still looked fine. He still threw the ball fairly well, right? Yeah, he threw for 306 yards, 30 for 44, had a touchdown. Barkley on 11 carries had 120 yards. Evan Engram caught the touchdown pass. He had 116 yards. I mean, and I said it too before the season started. These are probably going to be the primary targets in the Giants' offense. But Evan Engram, even in double coverage, was catching the ball. Barkley was breaking every tackle, making it look like Barry Sanders, right? He's running to survive. I honestly think there's a good chance that the Giants might be able to pull out an upset. I mean, am I going to say that? I think I am. I think I'm going to say, because look, here's the thing. Josh Allen, he won the game against the Jets. Threw for 250 yards and a touchdown, but he threw two really bad interceptions. And Devin Singletary didn't really touch the ball a lot. 4 carries for 70 yards. You didn't give him the ball more? What? I think the Giants are going to come out of this with a victory. Just because I like what the Bills are building. I just think that the Giants right now have the better offensive weapons, and they'll outscore the Bills. I'm thinking by 17, 20 points maybe. And I really think that's how bad this thing could get. Really, truly do. All right. Seahawks versus Pittsburgh. I honestly don't know what to think. Pittsburgh was supposed to have this really good defense. And 33 points later, Pittsburgh loses against the Patriots. Where's that defense? Where did it go? I have no idea. I know it's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and they always know how to be able to beat some of the best defenses out there, right? They beat the Bears. They've beat everybody. Every great defense they've been able to find since they've been paired up with each other. They've always found a way to be able to compete and beat the best defenses usually. And a lot of that is credited to the fact that Bill Belichick is one of the best defensive minds out there, and he's really seen it all. And the fact is that he has influenced almost every single team in how they play their defensive schemes now. I like Seattle. I like Russell Westbrook. I mean, right now they're favored. By the way, I should mention on the whole favoring for New England. New England's favored 18.5 points. That's the highest of them all. And the Bills are favored by 2.5 points in their game. Seattle right now, they're the underdogs in this because Pittsburgh's favored by 3.5 points. I like Pittsburgh. I think Juju Smith-Schuster coming back and having James Conner at 100% health, 100% healthy, I think that's going to help their game. I think Pittsburgh can take a win from this. I still think Russell Wilson will play extremely well, and he will keep this team in the game. But the lack of defense that's there for the Seahawks, even though they've added Clowney, it's not adding a lot, but it's still something at least. It's just not going to be enough to stop the Pittsburgh offense, who I think is going to start rolling, and I still think, even after that game, can win the division. I still think so. All right, next. Dallas versus Washington. Dallas is favored by 6 points. I mean, look, Dak Prescott at this point, pay the guy, right? 405 yards. I know it was against the Giants. Their defensive backs look horrible. 4 touchdowns, but they were 4 really good touchdowns and could have easily been anything else. But that just goes to show you that you have a franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott. Pay the man, and let's get this going. Washington looked good. Case Keenum, I don't know what his deal is. Seems like anytime he goes to a new team, he finds a way to put some magic on, right? The only place he didn't do it really was Denver. But everywhere else, he's kind of performed pretty good here and there. He's kind of kept himself in the matchup. He's kind of kept himself in the game. Threw 3 touchdowns, and everyone went, what? Yeah, he almost beat the Eagles. You know, the team that's kind of favored in the NFC to maybe go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he almost beat that team. I don't know, guys. Washington might be lethal, maybe. Dallas has the favor. I'm going with Dallas on this, though. They got too much firepower on defense. Ezekiel Elliott is back. I don't know exactly if they need him or not, but it's clear you roll with Dak, you're going to get some good numbers. I got Dallas, and I'm saying Dallas by like 21. I think it's going to be a blowout. I really do. Next, Arizona and Baltimore. Heisman Trophy man versus Heisman Trophy man. Lamar Jackson versus Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray played like whatever you can find on the bottom of my shoe for 3 quarters. And then in the 4th quarter, he suddenly looked like he was Mr. Unstoppable Superman. All right? Over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw an interception that was kind of dumb, and then ran for like 18 yards. Played pretty decent for his first showing, but ended up with a tie. So they're tied right now. They have a tie, and that's it. Baltimore destroyed the Dolphins. Lamar Jackson looks like he can really throw. Marquise Brown is one of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL right now, and it shows. Get him a deep threat wide receiver, and he can make plays. Lamar Jackson is not the most accurate guy, but give him Marquise Hollywood Brown to go downtown and touchdown downtown Hollywood Brown. I just wanted to do that for the rhyme. That's all. That's all I wanted to do. Just get that rhyme out there. All right. I know that was really dumb. Sorry. But look, I think Baltimore right now, Baltimore's favored by 13. That's the second largest here on it. They got 13. They're favored by 13 points. I think Baltimore can absolutely come out and smack Arizona in the face. But I think Kyler Murray will at least be able to get 2 more touchdowns in there. I think he'll throw for 1, and I think he'll run for 1. I think he played well, but it's going to take some time. He's in an offensive system he understands. He's with a coach that he trusts, but he's in a new place. And at 5'9", 200 pounds, or 5'10", 200 pounds, whatever he is, he's still trying to learn how to play in the NFL. And as the number 1 overall pick, a lot's being put on his shoulders. Hopefully, he can burden the storm. But I got Baltimore winning this one by at least 14, 17 points maybe. Next, you've got Jacksonville versus Houston. Houston came very close to winning it. The Saints, though, in Breezes they trust, certainly. But Houston was still able to put up some big points. You have got to protect Deshaun Watson. He was sacked 6 times. He was hit, I think they said 11. Do you want to keep your franchise quarterback or do you not? I know you traded for Laramie Tunsil. He's a really good offensive tackle, but you have got to make huge changes to your offensive line lest ye want to win the division. If he gets hurt, if Deshaun Watson gets hurt, it could be all over. DeAndre Hopkins looked really good. Running back-wise, they also need to figure out that ground game to take some pressure off the quarterback. Duke Johnson might be the answer. I have no clue, though. I didn't see enough of him really to be able to run the ball, but he had some decent moments here and there. Jacksonville lost Nick Foles, their $88 million quarterback. They've got Gardner Minshew. He was 22 of 25 for over 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. I think the kid's really going to pan out and be something special. I think they'll keep Nick Foles, certainly, but at some point they'll be, yeah, Nick, look, thanks for your time. We're sorry we paid you all this money. We're going to go with Mustache Boy here from Washington State, and him and his beautiful stash are going to carry us to the playoffs. Jacksonville could really be a surpriser. I don't know. Would I be crazy to say Jacksonville gets the upset? Houston favored by 8.5? I'm going to say Jacksonville takes the upset. I think Minshew maybe comes out, maybe throws a couple of touchdowns, makes Jacksonville look good. I think that defense can really – here's the thing, though. I think that defense is going to come out and hamper and really put a beating on Deshaun Watson. He's going to come out of the game or he's going to start making mistakes because the pressure is going to be on him. I got Jacksonville, and I think Jacksonville wins it by like 10. Next, Kansas City at Oakland. I mean, come on. Kansas City is favored by 7. Oakland won their first game. Defensively, they looked pretty well. Offensively, they look like they've got some pretty good weapons. But it's Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is healthy. Right? Travis Kelce is fine. Oh, Tyreek Hill's out? Oh, that's no problem. That's no problem. We just have Sammy Watkins who's going to catch nine balls, go for 198 yards, and score 3 touchdowns, right? While he's sitting on my bench in fantasy football. Come on. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. I still won, by the way, this week. I'm just upset that he was sitting on my bench. I mean, who would have thought, right? I thought Jacksonville's defense was better. Might be wrong. Who knows? Maybe that's why they lose to Houston. But Kansas City, they've got too much firepower. They really do. I really think that Oakland is in for a hurt. I'm thinking 24 point differential with Kansas City really taking the big win on this one. Chicago and Denver, we've already talked about it. I've already said it's going to be 23-19, I think, Bears. I just think the Bears' offense will eventually come alive in this. Look at the ground game going. They saw what Oakland had as far as getting the ground game going themselves. Rookie running back even itself, Josh Jacobs. I think the Bears have the second best rookie running back in David Montgomery. I think Montgomery comes alive. He comes through. He comes in clutch. He makes some good catches, runs the ball in, scores a touchdown, maybe even gets 2 himself, rushing and receiving. I think it could be good. I got Bears 23, Broncos 19. Next is New Orleans versus Los Angeles Rams. Rams were able to get a victory, but mostly due to their offense, right? Rams are favored right now by 1.5. I like the Saints, though. I got to say the Saints. I know that defense is good, but in Drew Brees, I trust. That Saints team is unbelievable. Michael Thomas is so crazy athletic. Drew Brees is so accurate. He can hit he's like in that commercial, that Pampers commercial. He can hit a diaper on the move. Come on, man. Don't doubt. Don't doubt. I would say New Orleans wins this by 2 touchdowns. I got 14 points for them. Next is Philadelphia versus Atlanta. This is tough. Philadelphia's got a 2-point favorite right now on that. I think that's fair. I think Philadelphia can pull this one off by like 17. I know they almost lost to the Washington Redskins. I get that. Matt Ryan's a really good quarterback. He's got probably the best wide receiver in the NFL, I think, right now, in Julio Jones, who I know really didn't have a breakout cap-off first game of the year thing, but I still think I think it's going to be a shootout, that's for sure. And while I think that Matt Ryan has the stronger arm, he's not the most deadly, accurate quarterback. He's got great weapons, sure, but it's nothing that I'm really kind of boasting about here. I think in Drew Brees, you should trust. He'll get it done. He'll find his guys. He'll get away. He'll find a way to get it done. I'm saying 2 touchdown. Philadelphia and Atlanta here. I apologize. Carson Wentz will find a way to get it done. I mean, Deshaun Jackson doesn't look like he's even lost a step, right? Deshaun Jackson does not look like he's lost a step. Alshon Jeffrey still looks very good. Zach Ertz, he didn't get utilized a lot, but he's still there. Offensive line's still very good. Defensively, they just need to pick up a few pieces here and there, get themselves into shape. I think they'll be good to go. I like Philadelphia, and I like them by, I'll say 17. And you know what? I'll change. I'll keep it tighter. I'll say 10. I think it's going to be just a heavily offensive game. And then the Monday night matchup, Cleveland versus New York Jets. This is the matchup we all wanted, and now it's kind of like for nothing. Sam Darnold versus Baker Mayfield. Number 1 overall pick versus number 3 overall pick. It's the epic matchup. Well, Sam Darnold's out now for a couple of weeks with mono. He's been quarantined off, so he doesn't give it to other players now. He's probably going to be out for a good 5-6 weeks, it sounds like they're saying. And it sucks because the Jets, well, now what do we do, right? How are we going to deal with this one now? I think Cleveland wins this game. I think they win it by 2 touchdowns. I still don't know, though, if Cleveland's going to play well. I can't really say that. I like Cleveland. I think they look fun and interesting, but they got hammered against Tennessee. 43-13. Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions. One of them, I don't credit him because it got tipped, but the other 2 were right to the DBs. I don't know. I think Cleveland will win this one, but it also shows that if you can't get the offensive line to pass protect, Baker's going to get hurt. And you can't keep feeding the ball to Nick Chubb, or he's going to get hurt. And Kareem Hunt's not back till week 8. You at least got to hold out till then. I got Cleveland winning by 2 touchdowns for the Monday night matchup. And that's going to do it for the week. So you guys, obviously, this one is kind of, I think we kind of went the length on this show. I think we still went an hour. Even if we didn't, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this show, because that's going to do it for us here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you did really enjoy this. If you have any comments on what we've talked about here, obviously comment down below in the comment section, in this little area down there. I mean, it's way down there. It's past our bar, obviously. But comment down below. We'd really like to hear from you guys. We'd really like to get some of your questions and comments. Also, if you want a question and comment too, make sure to email us at xbpofficial, no I between the F and the C because I messed that up, at gmail.com. You can send it there. Guys, so again, make sure to comment on the Tim Tebow college football situation. What was your favorite matchup of week 2? What are you looking forward to this Saturday? I know some games are already playing right now, but I'd love to hear you guys shout out your fanships and all that stuff. Comment on the Bears-Broncos. Who do you think is going to win that game? You guys comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. And also the week 2 matchups. Who do you think the upsets are going to be? Who do you think the winners are going to be? The winners, losers. Again, comment down below. Let us know. So, guys, if you guys want to find me, of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at @TheFluffyGuru. You can find me on Instagram at @TheBoomCrewCaptain, so make sure to go follow me on those things. I'm always posting memes, funny stuff, stupid things, all that kind of, usual mumbo-jumbo because I'm just bored half the time. Guys, if you want to follow us on our Twitter page of @XBombSports. You can follow us at XBombSports on Twitter. It is also at XBombSports on our Instagram page as well. You can also find us on our Facebook page, too, at Team X-Bomb Sports, where you can see seasons 1 and 2 where we originally started, which we're kind of getting in the mode now of getting those old episodes maybe uploaded here on the channel for some Throwback Thursdays, Flashback Fridays, whatever you want to make up, kind of days. But basically to kind of show you guys where we started, some of the old crew, give them some love because we didn't get here without them, of course, and I love all those guys nonetheless. I always say I do. Could never have done this without any of you guys, without any of these guys. And then, of course, got my buddy Anthony stepping in today. And Anthony, you did a great job today, man, I got to say. Great job, man. He's giving himself a thumbs down. No, dude, you did great. You did a really good job, man. But, yeah. Make sure to go to our Facebook page, see seasons 1 and 2. You'll always find the new episodes being posted up there. We're going to start to do more with the social media. Podcasts will hopefully be coming very soon. We got the first episode filmed. We might do a little bit more different things. We might do some more outside stuff. I know Tom's trying to look into possibly doing some vlogging stuff. We're also looking into doing like a team vlogging kind of thing. For background stuff, maybe like go to the zoo, go to the Shed Aquarium, museum, things like that. Just day out kind of stuff with X-Bomb if you guys would be interested in that. I don't know, but we just want to provide you with more content, so we're going to try and do some new stuff. But also, too, guys, of course, the YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, at X-Bomb Productions. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe on it, guys. Make sure to check out all the videos we're doing. We're coming very close here soon to episode 100 and also our 2-year anniversary episode coming, which is our anniversary is September 30th. I forget if our show lands on the 30th or not, but we may do something special for that or not. We also have some challenge videos that we may start doing too for a new segment that we might start breaking out when we have more time. But I think that's everything. Oh, and of course, don't forget to, guys, to go and check out Putting Up Points. They unfortunately could not be here today to do the radio show. They're on from 12 to 2 on sportstownchicago.com, where you can listen to them live, or you can see the live stream of them as well and ask them any questions or comments on Facebook at Sportstown Chicago's Facebook page. Again, 12 to 2 every Saturday on sportstownchicago.com. You can listen to them for free. Remember that, for free. Or the Facebook page where you can see the live stream feed itself. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here today. Again, thank you so much, Anthony Gentili, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to give him a round of applause. Give him a lot of love. We will see you guys next Wednesday. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, much love and peace out, Boom Crew.